to be the busiest little gravel road I've ever seen. I bet in the last 10 minutes there's probably been 10 cars through here, if not more. Anyway, kind of the day I guess everyone's been looking forward to. The day we actually use the little 450 for logging. So, last Thursday, when I was in here cutting, when Nathan was helping me, I started off cutting on this side of the creek, and of course it was pretty wet out there. And we've got several trees on the ground, and we want to get them out. So, what better way to get them out than on a set of steel tracks? So, we're going to go out there. There's nothing real big. They're just good, clean logs, so nothing should drag out too hard. We're knee-deep in tracks here. Even though it's wet, which I've never done any dozer logging, so this is kind of a first for me as well. But I don't think we'll have any trouble. I think, hopefully, I think everything should come out pretty smooth. Just take a little longer than what it would with a skidder. And it being a little cool this morning will definitely help, kind of a little crust on the ground. So we'll get this bad boy fired up, pull some wood. First things first, kick the power on. Just sit here for a second. Dad's dozing. He's getting the road cut in back here. Dad's got more hours on that thing than I do. Dad's played around on it quite a bit, especially down on his farm. He's actually drug logs with it already. I'm glad to see Dad on machines. I'm glad that he still has the want to run machines. Because I personally, that want for me is not really there anymore. Now years ago, Dad actually had some dozers. I didn't know that till he told me about it when we bought this one. These are the kind of areas right here where there's kind of a little bit of water standing. Anywhere you see these groves of water oak trees, you know it's kind of swampy. Pin oak, as some people call them, we call them water oak, swamp oak. They've got a lot of slang names and terms. And usually you really don't see too much walnut growing in amongst them. So the walnut growing here amongst this water oak's kind of a rarity, really. These are some pretty good water oak, all things considered. And we might come back and cut these eventually. It gets closer to spring, summer. We tend to focus more on the pallet wood in the summer months. The winter, I mean, we're pretty gung-ho on our walnut and better oak. We are in the summer too, but it just generally we've got a lot more walnut to cut in the winter. Winter's a better time to cut your walnut when the sap's down. The bark's not slipping. Where in the summertime when it gets hot, we kind of call the pallet material your water oak, your ash, maple, sycamore, cottonwood, stuff like that. Just kind of our, what we call our starvation timber. When it's hot, we don't like working, so we do just enough to kind of get by. We definitely don't try to break any records in the summertime. But we'll still pump out a few thousand feet a day. If I could find a good skidder operator, I would like to think we could pretty easily pump out 10,000 feet a day, but having to cut and drag both, it definitely kind of eats into your time. Definitely aren't going to break any records on production, but that old dozer's staying on top of the ground pretty good. Especially without getting the log up off the ground. Normally, with a winch set up like on our skidders, the arch, the key is to get that butt of that log off the ground so it's not plowing up the ground like it is right there. But at the same time, we're working when a lot of guys aren't able to. Through the swamp here. Not really cutting in. It's a good thing. And I'm going to follow Dad out. I'll unhook the log for him. That way he doesn't have to get off the dozer. Kind of speed things up every chance we get. It's really not too bad on speed, surprisingly. Once you kind of get a system down, Dad and I are rolling along pretty good on it. I'm definitely gonna get my walking in today, following him in and out on every turn. Just go through that mud hole right there. Man, that's amazing. Like I said, our little 440, we about got hung up this same ground last week before all the rain we just had, and this dozer's just eating right through there. Man, this is the first time I've ever logged behind a dozer, so I'm sure a lot of you guys that are watching that do a lot of dozer logging are probably going to critique me on all I'm doing wrong, and that's okay because I don't know what I'm doing really. All I know is it's pretty amazing that this thing's just crawling over these mud holes that I'm sinking in just walking through, and it's walking right over them. And we're getting wood out. That is the main thing right there. And Dad seems to really be enjoying himself on the dozer. That's pretty cool too. He loves that little thing. I could definitely tell where having an actual winch and a log arch on it would be very beneficial. And hopefully someday that'll be something like that, whether on this dozer or another dozer, a newer model dozer. Hopefully we'll have something like that in our lineup, because even after this short period of time today, it's definitely made me a believer in dozer logging. And I know you guys back in the hills and the Appalachians, you guys swear by these things, and I can definitely see why. From just pulling from the drawbar, it's really surprising this thing does as well as it does, because these trees are pretty tall trees. Some of them have got a little size, nothing super big, as I stated. You can see here they're tall. A lot of footage in them. That little 450 just chugs right along. Seems like each turn out I learn a little something new. Watch that stuff. Hedge, Osage orange, Bodart, whatever you want to call it. We just call it hedge. Nasty stuff. All trees. Watch the swing out. Now we've probably already got a couple thousand feet on the deck this morning. I'd say right about 2,000, 2,200. Said we're not breaking any records, but there's wood coming out, and that's the main thing. Dad seems to be having a good time too. While he's doing that, I'm going to walk up here and see if I can cut another one. See if we can do a little video of the cutting. Got a tripod in my pocket here. I'm real hard on videoing equipment as far as breaking it or losing it, and I lost my good suction cup mount first thing this morning walking in front of the dozer, because I just figured that I'd be running the dozer, and I was going to try to mount that where we could have some good video action of the dozer dragging wood, but it's gone. We'll have to get on the old Amazon and order a couple more. Ground seems pretty firm down here in this river bottom. We could probably drag with the skidder down here. It's just that little upland up there where that water oak is. It's kind of a bear cat. We got a walnut there, another one out here. I think that was about it. I don't remember there being too many more up through here. Really, all things considered, this dozer is pretty low impact on everything. When I cut my trees, I try to cut my tops up pretty good where they lay flat on the ground. Helps them break down a little faster, go back to the earth. Makes things look a little better too. We've only cut a few trees out here, but just looking, you really can't tell that we have. I think there's just a couple more to cut. This is one of them, which I'm about halfway through on it. I'm gonna walk out here and I get it on the ground to double check and make sure. But I think that'll have this side of the creek kind of finished up. Of course, the creek's just right there. We've got some walnut on the other side to cut there on the high side of the creek, but it's a little further on down. But I'll definitely double back out through there and make sure we didn't miss anything. Last one coming out here. Ted's got a pretty good road made with the dozer. And he's clipping along pretty good on it. I don't think I've seen Dad run a skidder, but maybe one time in the last few years, and it was briefly. It was just pushing logs on a log deck. But he has drug out every piece of wood today with the dozer. He really likes running that thing. He's pretty good on it. Just steady, consistent, same speed. Little elm for a bumper tree there. Pretty slick. I'm definitely a believer in dozers. Now Dad's went in for the day. We went and ate lunch, come back, marked logs and I bucked logs. Dad marked and I bucked up, and he was going in, and I wanted to work a little longer today because today's supposed to be the nicest day of the week and maybe the nicest day we get for a little while. So I definitely wanted to try to make it count and to get a few of these out. Over in this part of the farm here, this little higher ground in here, so the ground's a little more stable, solid. So luckily we can run with the skidder over here. It was just that area there this morning where we were going to have trouble, and I'm going to load the dozer up and take it home today. We got done everything we needed to do with it. It was fun. It was interesting. It was a good trial run for it. It kind of got my feet wet working with the dozer. It's the first time I've ever logged behind a dozer with a dozer, so it kind of gives me something to work towards some goals. I know what I need to do with it in the future. But we have a small deck area over here, and this is part of what Nathan kind of pushed out last Thursday on the 333. So we don't have much room to put these logs. So we're going to try to shove in here what we can, and what we'll do is next week we'll bring the skid steer over here, and maybe this weekend, I don't know, the weather's supposed to be pretty cold. We'll bring the skid steer over here, and that's what we'll use. We'll have to buck these up as we get them out, or get too many of them out. Then once we get them bucked, we'll have to lay them out and just try to do what we can. There's a pretty good little concentration of logs in this little area, which I've got them laying down every which direction. Got a few hung up, which in this dense timber here, it's kind of hard sometimes to cut them not hang up, because every which way they fall, they're falling into a tree of some kind. it was definitely a good day for the dozer. I hope we can do some more videos in the future logging with the dozer. I hope we can be in some more situations where we need the dozer. It was a lot of fun today. It really was. It was fun watching Dad run it. It was fun working behind it. Like I said, it was something new to me. Yeah, it just kind of gives us an idea of what direction to go with this. We've already got a really good lead on where to get a winch. So yeah, hopefully here in the distant future, near future, we'll have a winch on the back of this thing. And who knows, maybe someday we might even let this one go for a newer model, because it definitely made me a believer today in using a dozer in wet weather situations. You know, we went through areas where the 440C, and it's light, wouldn't even think about going. And this thing here just sat on top of the mud the whole time. And even the way we were dragging the logs were kind of digging into the ground. And, you know, they weren't up, the butts weren't up off the ground at all. And the dozer still muscled them right through. And really, it was a lot faster than I thought it'd be, doing it the way we did it. And, you know, I figured it'd be an all-day deal and then some, getting done what we needed to get done. Luckily, just that area right there is the only place we needed the dozer for. So the rest of it, I think we could knock out with a 440C. Then hopefully this will be the last job. We need the 440C for a while. Hopefully we'll be back in the 548, because the engine's putting it, it's done, it's ready to go. That's sitting at the shop there at Dad's house, ready to come to a job. Anyway, tomorrow I've got a bunch of timber to look at, all day deal, 3 different tracks actually here in the same area. So I unfortunately will not be logging tomorrow, which we've got a full deck up here where I was dragging with the C. This deck has a lot of room, but we'd have to drag them right down the road to hit them here, and we're not going to do that. So luckily there's another place on up the road here and back down the other road where hopefully we can deck a lot more of the other logs that are on the job. Friday, of course, Friday is always Marcel Day. Then this weekend it's supposed to turn pretty bitterly cold. I know for our part of the world, what we consider cold here in southwest Missouri, there's supposed to be some highs in the single digits, or excuse me, highs. Supposed to be some lows in the single digits. That's better. Then I think it's even the first of next week, it's supposed to be pretty cold. But next week, I'm sure Monday, regardless of what the weather's doing, we'll be back over here dropping timber, trying to get this job finished up so we can get to the next one. Hopefully about 2 to 2.5 days, we'll have this one here kind of knocked out and done. I'm not even exactly sure how many more trees we've got left over there to cut, but I know there's a decent number. There's still quite a few right there where we were at with the 440 a minute ago, but we've got to get the 333 over here as well. So I'm going to take the 450 home because we no longer need it here. And it'd be one less thing we'd have to worry about being in the field. So we're going to take it home, get all the tracks cleaned out real good, and I'm going to make some calls about a winch tonight. Probably this afternoon, probably as soon as I get in that truck right there. I'm going to make some calls on some winches. Guys, I can't thank you enough. It means the world to me and Dad that you guys follow along and watch the channel. You know, every morning when I get up and go to coffee, that's when I usually try to get back to everybody's comments in that little window there. So I talk to a lot of the same people every day in comments, and it's great. And a lot of you guys I've been talking to since I started doing this almost 5 years ago. So it's been a lot of fun. You know, I've thinking back about the evolution of the videos, how my first video to now, because I was asked to do YouTube years ago and always said I'd never do it. We had such a strong presence on Facebook, on our business page on Facebook, and still do. We have 46,000 followers on our Facebook page. So we've got a fairly large social media presence on Facebook and Instagram, and it continues to grow. But anymore, I get a lot of enjoyment from working on YouTube and getting to talk with everybody and do that as well. So it's really been a lot of fun. Anyway, guys, don't know about a video tomorrow. We'll see what happens and see what the weather does. Can't thank you guys enough. We will see you later. Hey guys, if you like what you see, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for all of our latest videos.